You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's The Bachelorette After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Bachelorette After Show.
You can feel the energy. All right.
Feel the love.
Do you feel it? Do
I
you
feel the love.
Can you feel the love tonight?
That was way off tune. But
Sorry.
anyway.
Okay, it's not American Idol.
Should have gone back to Call Me Maybe.
All right, guys. AfterBuzz TV Nation, what is up? We all know that Bing is for doing, and we are doing another after show for AfterBuzz TV. This is The Bachelorette. Season 8, season finale, episode 11, and after the final rose. I'm JC, and I'm going to let the lovely ladies introduce themselves, starting with my beautiful co-host sitting right in front of me.
Thank you. The only blonde left. Canden Bliss. Good to be back with you guys. I can't believe it's the finale. It's been a good season. I'm going to miss Emily.
Okay. And, of course, our Bachelor Insider, and she looks... Holly Golightly, I'm going to say. Very Breakfast at Tiffany's. I love
that. I'm in my finale dress. Like the actual dress I wore on my finale when I got dumped on national television, and I thought I would bring it back tonight.
Bring back all those good memories.
It still fits. It was great memories. Great
and
memories.
for those who do not know, that is Miss Krisily Kennedy. Let's put an applause for Krisily and for Canden.
Oh, thanks.
Of course. And what is it? The news never looks so pretty?
Yeah, that's what you said a couple times.
I always got to say it because you always got the news. Miss Cathy Kelley, what's going on, Cathy?
Hi. Lots of news tonight.
Yeah?
I'm really excited. Yeah.
We got a lot. All right,
Yeah.
so stick around for that. And, of course, we're going to have the debate of whether or not, if you see any differences on this after the rose for Emily than the one a few seasons ago when she was with Brad. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, if you're watching us on AfterBuzzTV.com live, what's up, guys? But if you're not, make sure to listen to us.
And
Yeah.
No, make sure to listen to us on iTunes. And they've got this neat little podcast app that actually you get your iPhone and you can just click on the icon and it'll take you to all the podcasts you need, especially AfterBuzz podcasts from The Bachelorette. Wow, I'm just tongue-tied today.
Do you get
know.
marbles in your mouth tonight?
What's
Marbles
that?
in
I got
marbles.
marbles. I
Yeah.
got marbles.
Drink
in
your water.
Okay.
From
No-
your love cup.
There we go. From our notice that the cups
The
are, if you're
love
watching
cups.
us.
These are the most dramatic cups ever, actually. If you haven't noticed.
Great Chris
Most
Harrison
dramatic
quote.
cups in Bachelorette's history.
In AfterBuzz history.
Yes, but let
Dun,
me
dun,
finish.
dun.
Guys, we have, yes, the girls are not going to let me finish tonight. It's one of those. No, you can click on over 40 of our shows, from The Bachelorette, from Bachelor Pad to Rizzoli and Isles to even Longmire. Tons of shows that we bring to you every week free of cost. And while you're there, all we ask is for you to just click on them, subscribe, and let us know what you're thinking. Give us feedback, because we really do pay attention, and it's great to be interactive. So we do it all for you, and it helps us out. Thanks, guys. All right. So impressions of the show. What, Krisily?
Get down to business.
Yes, let's get. Okay, Krisily, what'd you think of the show tonight?
I thought it was great. I mean,
Yeah.
my pick from episode 1. I will say that the word on Twitter tonight was that Bachelor fans will not be suckered into another season finale. It was funny because they were saying so dramatic and you're not going to guess what happens, and it was exactly what most people thought, one way or the other. So it was, that sucker punch didn't work.
Thank you for letting us know. Did we keep account of how many times Krisily let us know that she picked Jeff since
Team Jeff.
episode 1? Yeah.
It's in the millions or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gushing.
Ken,
Happy.
what'd you think?
Again, totally what I expected. I mean, I guess I was a little bit. I mean, now, obviously, from the beginning, I have not always been on Team Jeff.
Okay.
But I just didn't see him for a while. Like, he really didn't come out of his shell for me until the last couple of weeks. And I think it was really him feeling confident in her and how she felt about him. And once it got to that point, he was like a different person. and he was a person I wanted to watch. You know what I mean? Like when he was his first little Jeff, I was like, all right, whatever. This guy's kind of interesting, but like not doing it for me. Like I'm not seeing who he is. And he finally came out with it for the last couple
I think
weeks.
that everyone got caught up in all the other guys because I don't think their relationship has changed at all. I think the awkwardness has always been there between them, but because there were so many other people to focus on, you didn't really see that.
She said it on the first episode that he made her nervous. She didn't know how. She didn't think she was as cool as Jeff, and that was her direct quote in the first episode. So,
But was he that cool at the beginning? Because he was nervous too.
Yeah.
He was
always
nervous.
cool.
He was nervous too, though. Like
No,
I
he
feel
hasn't
like
changed.
he's.
Skateboard flying into the bushes.
Yeah.
He had that
No.
little.
He had the
I feel like it was
Justin
an
Bieber
act.
swagger.
I felt like it was an act though for a while. And
crazy.
now I'm serious. I think he was
No.
really nervous, but now like when you see him on the After the Rose and everything, it's like he's there. Like he's a real person. He is a confident guy. He's funny. They get like each other and they work together. But at first the awkwardness was too much for me.
I feel like that's how a natural relationship progresses, though. You're kind of
Yeah.
awkward at the beginning, you know, your first couple dates, and then you slowly become more comfortable with the person. And now they're engaged, so clearly
course.
they've got to be comfortable with each other. So
Which
I
is
feel
why
like-
it's gonna last. Like
Yeah.
it's not one of those whirlwind romances. It like happened like it's supposed to.
we hope. We're all crossing our fingers. for them.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of tentative because we've seen, but you know what? The Bachelorette has a better track record than The Bachelor.
Yeah.
If you've noticed, I think
Absolutely.
3 out of the 8 girls are with.
Because girls
That's
rule,
such
boys
bad
rule.
odds.
Come on.
3 out of 8.
Well, I think it's. Let's see. Okay, we
Girls
got
pick with their
Trista.
heads, and
Yes.
guys pick with something else.
Ben.
I'm here to
I didn't-
defend.
They're still together.
Yeah.
Ben and Courtney are still together, so
and they're going strong.
they can't be that. He
There's
couldn't
a
have been
reason.
that bad. But
Yeah, they're going strong. So okay, and we know that you had another horse in the race, somewhat. You like Ari.
Yeah, I thought that Ari was going to make it really far. I said from the beginning that I was Team Jeff and Team Ari, and I think there were a lot of people out there this past week who still thought that it was going to be Ari.
Yeah.
And we kind of knew just because, like, Emily, I feel like she wears her heart on her sleeves, her emotions on her sleeves, and we see it in the eyes, like whenever she was really into someone, and I feel like for the past couple weeks, it's only been Jeff. But
And we do have to mention that we talked a lot about body language, and we also have to talk about one of our other hosts as well, the relationship and intimacy expert, Jenna Couture.
What's up, Jenna Couture?
Jenna would always talk about body language.
Yeah.
And we paid attention to her all season, and we noticed that Emily's eyes would do something different with Jeff.
And it's funny because I know you've been tweeting about it a lot as well. A lot of the tweets that I got back tonight were, oh my God, I never looked at it that way when I would talk about the things that they were saying. But I feel like as a viewer, you watch the show differently. Like we're picking it apart because we're going to talk about it for an hour afterwards.
Right.
So we're looking for things that other people aren't looking for. But then when you bring it to their attention, they're like, oh my God, I didn't see that before, because they're distracted by all the shiny things, you know? They're not looking at the eyes and the hands. And
they're looking at the abs.
She was smitten from Jeff from the beginning, but the last 3 episodes, her mind was made up.
There was a shift. I mean, I think she entertained the two of them for a long time. She entertained those feelings with Ari, and then the past few weeks
She
wasn't
actually-
there. Like it just wasn't there. She wasn't entertaining it anymore.
She said in the beginning that it was Ari. She thought that it was going to be
Yeah.
Ari in the end.
Well, it breaks tradition because I've said the last 4 Bachelorettes, whoever goes on the date on the 3rd episode with the Bachelorette ends up being the winner. And for the last 4 seasons, it panned out that way. And I guess Jeff just broke the streak because Ari went on the date with Emily on that 3rd episode. And that's why I was like, ooh, maybe it is going to be Ari. But
They needed to change it up.
I think they were watching our show, perhaps.
That's because Jeff wins. Jeff's the best.
Jeff's the best. We know he's the best. Well, let's really dive into what happened with Jeff. And what about when Jeff met Emily's parents? Were they sold right off the bat? Did you think
Yes.
Emily's mom?
Does
Really?
anyone think that it was like we didn't see a whole lot? It was very surface to me with Jeff and Emily's parents. Like I was expecting a lot more deep conversation and questions and like them really getting to know each other.
But they don't ever do that on the show. I don't feel like they ever delve into the realness of the situation on the show because they don't want to. They want to gloss it over and they want to say, okay, this is the small talk that you got, and now I'm going to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage, which is super awkward. But they never, as a show, they never delve into that. And I will tell you that being in that position and meeting the family, you don't get all that time. So, I mean, there's a little bit more than what you actually, as a viewer, see. But you're not talking about, oh my God, what were they like when they grew up? Like, you have a couple hours with this family, and so you just want to get everything that you can out, and they want to get everything that they can out, and then editors do the rest. But you don't get I don't know how to explain it other than the fact then it's not the normal conversation you would have the first time you meet the parents.
Right. Now, would you object? What if the father would have said, because they asked for Emily's hand in marriage, what if the dad said no?
Her dad was very not like intense about it, which I was really surprised about. The mom was super intense about it, but the dad was like, yeah, you seem like a good guy. And that's not typical for a Southern daddy to be like, yeah, sure, like this happened before. I felt like he took it a little nonchalant, not in a disrespectful way, I don't mean that, but I felt like I was expecting a little bit more thought and delving into who that man is asking for my daughter's hand, right?
Yeah.
I just think that they were all smitten by Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it. Even the brother went into it with such an intensity and came out of it and was just like, I really like this guy, and even had said, whoever comes tomorrow has some big shoes to fill. Like, he said that. So they were very smitten by Jeff from the get-go.
I think it's really interesting because Emily's family was actually not on Brad's season when she was supposed to introduce Brad to the family. She only introduced him to Ricki. And so I've heard like a lot of blogs, a lot of people saying that now they realize that this can work, being on TV and finding your love on TV. And so they were happy to, meet the potential two suitors for Emily's heart. And I feel like since Emily's dad was more confident in this, I felt like he kind of saw like, Emily is falling in love with two people, so I'm going to let her be a big girl and,
she's going to make the decision.
Exactly.
Yeah. They were all like that. They all played the nope, honey, it's your card.
Right.
And she was like, please give me something. And they were like, nope, it's all you.
Yeah.
But then that kind of contradicts what we're saying all along, that she knew. She already knew. I mean, how...
I think that she knew from the get-go, from 3 weeks ago. I think that she knew. I also think that she was looking for her family to reassure her. This was a really big decision for her to do the show in the first place. So now she's at this point where she does think she loves two people, which all of us as viewers knew that one was love and one was lust.
Right.
But I think that she was looking for her family to just give her that reassurance and say, oh my God, of course he's the one for you. What are you,
to make
stupid?
sure she's
what are
not
you
doing
waiting
anything
for?
wrong.
And I think that not getting that from them was kind of a little nerve-wracking. I think that's what made her nervous in the decision, was that she didn't get one or the other from them. And I think the decision, as her mom said, bringing Ricki into the equation was a huge thing, which is why I think only one of them got to meet her.
Do you think maybe she got more reassurance from Chris Harrison than her parents, perhaps? Because when she had that conversation with Chris,
she already knew.
She
at
already
that
knew,
point.
but I mean, Chris seemed like he was just very comforting. She feels safe. They've known each other for a few years now, so they've got a pretty good. He said it on after the final rose, that they get along well. So
he's a really easy person to talk to.
Okay.
He's also been through this so many times and seen so many people go through this that he also, I think, kind of knows what to say in that situation to make you feel a bit more comfortable.
I have a question though. What do you think that if her parents had been like, we love Ari the most, he's the one, what would have happened?
She might have just been more confused. I don't think that...
Do you think it would have changed the final decision?
I don't know. I feel like she still would have ended up picking Jeff, but it would have taken a lot longer, and I don't know that she would have let Ari go so soon. So...
Now, did your parents, when you met Charlie on Charlie's season, how was your family with Charlie?
They were great. My grandmother was making jokes, and it was an interesting dynamic to have cameras and producers on a date with my family. But they had a really good time with it. And it was the same thing. Like, no one was delving into the super serious questions. Like, you have such a limited time with that person, so you just kind of want to have fun with them.
How long was the process? How long were they there?
They were at my house shooting longer than I was there. We had a couple different stops on my trip. First, we played with my dog. Then we went to my cousin's hair salon and she cut Charlie's hair. And then we went to my house, and we were probably there for about I would say that the actual dinner part of it was probably about 2 hours, and then an hour to 2 hours of interviews, because they interviewed me and then him and then my family. So it was a long process.
Just trying to gauge how many hours they possibly spent with, Emily's parents and Jeff, and Ari. Well, and we're going to get to Ari in a second, but just, so fans, everyone gets to know what it must be really like. We see it on the show, but, you were in it.
And there's a lot that you don't see. There's a lot of conversations that you don't see and obviously in a situation like this for editing, if they had this amazing connection with Jeff and they had this amazing conversation, they're not going to show that because they want the viewers to still think Ari has a shot. They don't want to make it look like it's Jeff. Yeah, so as a story goes and as a television show goes, they have to edit it to show that there's still a guess in there for the viewer, or it's not fun.
Right.
I feel like in a way they pulled for Ari in the Meet the Parents a little bit more. Just they put a little more in it to give it something.
Throw people off for a second.
Yeah.
Well, before we kind of dive into Ari and his parents, I do have to mention something really quickly, and it's about us and our partnership with Amazon. And what we do here at Amazon is we do give you guys this free content, but when you come visit our site, we have a banner on our top right corner where it has the Amazon logo on it, but if you click on it, you can do all your shopping for Amazon through AFTERBUZZ. And what that does is whatever purchase you make, it actually kicks us back a few cents. And it really, like I said, we bring all this content for you, but it actually helps us bring more programming and helps us just get better every day and helps us get even cooler cups. So
there's no extra cost to you, and
Exactly.
it helps us bring you this free content. So it's a win-win.
Thank you. All right, with that said, yes, Krisily.
I was like, don't go to Ari yet. Because
Okay.
I'm like, don't go to Ari yet.
Excuse me.
Because, well, no, I think that a really important part in Emily's process today, or what we think was Emily's process today, was the fact that she did have that last one-on-one time with Jeff, and they were sitting and talking on the beach and talking about their processes and how they were thinking. And Jeff really manned up and said, you know what?
Absolutely.
I think it's great that we're so happy, but there's another person in the picture. And I don't feel confident going into this without meeting Ricki and not knowing where I stand with Ricki. Are you seeing that? And I mean, whether he came up with that himself or not, I think that he has constantly brought Ricki up in conversation on every single date. He's always brought her in. And I thought it was really great that he did get to meet her during this and that he got to sit and play with her and talk to her. And I'm sure they had a lot more time than what we saw.
We kind of knew, I think we went against the grain. We've been picking Jeff forever, and you from day one. But
It was the skateboard. It was the skateboard.
But when he got to meet Ricki, was it pretty much a done deal there?
I think so.
You had to be.
I think she wouldn't have let him meet her if it wasn't. You know what I mean? And I think she really understood and respected the fact that he brought it up and that it was important to him. I mean, I think it has been important for him. Whoever made the final decision of this is going to happen, I think it's something he's always wanted. From at least in the couple of weeks that I've been paying attention to him, he really has wanted that, and he's really been serious about it. And I can understand why. I mean, I think we all understand why it's important for him to meet Ricki beforehand. It's like, how are you going to ask me to get down on one knee and propose to this family that I don't even know?
Because it's not just her. When he's proposing to her, he's essentially saying, like, I want to be your husband, but I also want to be a father to Ricki.
Right.
And he wouldn't be allowed to do that without meeting Ricki. And I don't think that Emily would have been able to accept a proposal without making sure that they got along and that was going to work out.
Absolutely.
And I think Emily had a huge part in that because I feel like she knew it was Jeff for a while, and I feel like this was the final straw. Like she couldn't get that from her family, what she needed, that final straw to say Jeff. And I think that her bringing Jeff to Ricki just showed her he's absolutely the right man, and I don't even need to do anything else, which we saw.
She said that to Chris Harrison a couple minutes later.
And I was going to bring up that question. I was going to be kind of the skeptic because I know he's great. He's great with kids. I'm guaranteed when he goes to a party, he sits at the kids' table because the kids are fun.
Absolutely.
He has so many Instagram pictures with him and kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right, with all the babies that we had on last week. But I wonder what happens after, and I hope it's not taken the wrong way, the novelty, the newness of it wears off because it's playfulness, but when the discipline comes into play? Is he going to be ready for that role as a father figure to Ricki?
They talked about that when they were, I think it was in Croatia, when they were lying on the floor in that library. They kind of talked about, how Emily actually brought up, I don't see you as that discipline, father figure role, and he said no, while I want to be the cool dad, I totally, I can man up and I can, be a father and discipline and do all the things that a father would do.
Well, he showed he can man up tonight because of the way he's handled himself. I think it'll be a process for him. I think he's got to be the buddy. He's got to be the cool dad for a little while. And then once it becomes a normal life, then I think he can step into that more disciplinarian role once he's really daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he doesn't have the room to do it right
No.
now.
No, it'll take a
that's
while.
Emily's job still. You know what I mean? And we'll get to where they're going next, but
Correct.
they're not going to be in a place for him to reprimand her at all at this point. It's going to be Emily's job, and then he'll kind of fall into it much later on.
Once they have more babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like yesterday.
Which they didn't talk about, and we'll get into that in a minute, but let's move on to Ari and just how difficult this whole process must have been for him, and how some people think it maybe wasn't that difficult at all.
Well, no
Remember-
pun intended, but he was chatty Cathy with the parents.
Was that out of nervousness, perhaps?
I mean, yeah, I think it was just awkward. I mean, I could sense the awkwardness immediately. I think that's why he was just talking. Nobody was saying anything.
He was just a little too slick, or what just...
It wasn't comfortable, so he felt like he had to talk and talk and talk, and nobody else really had anything to say.
Well, like Krisily said, you feel like you have to get all your cards out on the table really fast because you don't have that much time with them. And I feel like he felt like he had to prove something. And I feel like their, Meet the Parents did go well.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything wrong, their entire relationship.
And you walk in and the parents are just looking at you like, okay, what are you going to bring?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you get awkward and you get nervous and you're like, I don't know what to say, but I have to tell you how much I'm in love with your son or daughter because that's what I'm here for. So I'm going to tell you and make it sound as genuine as I can in the 5 minutes that I get with you. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard knowing that there's someone else doing the exact same thing the day before or the day after. So there's nothing normal or comfortable about the situation. And I think that he handled the meeting the parents really well. I think that they saw right through his BS a little bit at the beginning where his brother said, or his father said, Emily's brother or father said, you seem like the guy that always knows what to say.
That was the brother.
Right.
And I mean, that's Ari. Ari's the smooth talker and he's smooth and he gets in, but once he gets in, does he have the substance to stay? And clearly we saw that wasn't the case.
Yeah, because...
What
Canden?
did he bring?
The love potion?
The dead flowers.
Oh, the dead flower.
I mean, Jeff brings these beautiful real flowers. and
Alive.
dead. And I mean, okay, so a girl would do something like that. I'm going to keep all my roses. I didn't even keep all my roses on the show, but he kept all the roses in the box and then he gave them to his family. It was just awkward.
Speaking for the guy,
Very,
I've got to
True
try...
Blood vampiric.
No.
In a way, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying I would do it, but I'm just saying, I mean...
I thought it was very thoughtful.
Okay, see, so
And-
thank you, Cathy Kelley.
As my mom was sitting with us while we were watching, and she said, well, the flowers that Jeff brought are going to be dead soon anyways. So.
But the box of dead flowers, like a bottle of wine.
Yeah. I mean,
a
why does
good
her mom
book.
want...
It was awkward.
Why does her mom want his flowers? I
Okay.
don't get it.
Great point. Okay.
Sentimental.
I don't...
But it's
Emily,
sentimental to him, not the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
It's like a gift that either he should have kept for himself or given to her after after they're engaged. Then he's like, "Look, honey, I kept all my roses." Like
That
that
was
makes
awkward.
sense. But here, mom, that I'm trying to impress. Here's all my roses from my dates. It just was awkward.
Well, if you say it like that, Canden...
See, I have a way of saying things.
It's awkward.
Okay, my question is, they went through the parental date, and it was, it was good. He did, he was charming. He did what Ari does, but well, now Emily knew she wasn't going to pick him, and Jeff is making this love potion for Emily.
no.
Ari is
Ari
making
made the love
love
I'm sorry. Ari's making the love potion. Weren't you guys just cringing as that was
Yes.
going on? I mean, how do
Why
they
would
just?
they do that to him?
Yeah, Krisily, why is it? It's their job.
He thinks he's going on a date with Emily. And if they say, no, stop, don't do this and get this ready for her, then he's going to be like, what's going on? You know what I
Right.
mean? What do you mean don't do this anymore? Like the plan, I'm already here. This woman's already talked to me. Why would I stop now? You know what I mean? So they can't let him know that something's happening. So they have to do it as smoothly as they can.
But that was such an awkward date. Like, they could have changed what the date was, knowing that he wasn't going to be the final
Yeah, the
person.
love potion thing.
I feel like they tried to make it as awkward as possible.
gets us to watch and breaks our hearts as we watch
And
it.
awkward for her. I mean, it put her in a position to where she had to walk into something that was already awkward. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to just meet and sit down and start talking about what we're going to do for the day. Or like, I just felt like it put her in an even more awkward position.
I feel like everyone out there kind of, like, I felt like I was getting broken up with. Like, it was so uncomfortable to watch and know what was going to happen. And to see that moment when Ari knew, like, it wasn't she was crying because she felt bad about dumping Jeff. It was because she was going to dump you.
But I think that and I guess I watch it a little bit differently going through the process. So you wake up on the morning and I'm assuming, say I'm Emily. The night before, I went out with Jeff. Everything was great. I know it's Jeff. I tell the producers, I know it's Jeff. I don't want to do this with Ari. They say, maybe you should sleep on it and let's think about it tomorrow. So then she wakes up in the morning and says, I'm supposed to go on this date with Ari. I don't want to go out on this date with Ari because I know where I stand. I want to do whatever I have to do to get rid of it. They can not at that point just change the date.
Yeah.
Because it's already been planned for weeks. So they can't just pick up and change and move and say, okay, we're going to do this instead. So I feel like it had to happen that way.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like they probably tried to talk her into still going on the date with Ari and playing the motions, which probably would have made it better show in the end. But she put her foot down and said no. And I think that's where we saw a lot more of the awkwardness because they couldn't change it at that point.
Don't you think, though, that we knew a couple weeks ago that it was going to be Jeff, but don't you think that they knew that it was going to be Jeff as well? And I feel like the date that they gave to Jeff was so normal. It was, they were sitting on a beach. They had dinner. They, met Ricki, played in a pool. And then they do this awkward bachelorette themed date where you go make a love potion with some indigenous...
But there may have been that with Jeff as well, and we may not have seen it. There may have been something weird about Jeff's date as well, but her saying, no, I want him to meet Ricki, put a wrench in that plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on my season, there was a portion of the final 3 where Charlie was out with one of the girls that he ended up sending home that week, and midway through the date was like, I don't want to go on the rest of this date. Like, I'm all set. I'm done. I don't want this girl here anymore. I want to send her home. He had to continue with the date. Even though he knew, I'm sending her home. I don't want to be with her. He still had to continue with the date. So, I mean, if you think about it as a producer and not as a viewer, you look at it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Wow. See, that's great insider info that I'm sure a lot of people watching never thought of it that way. So that's kudos. Thank you, Krisily.
Yeah, and I mean, she did the right thing because you don't want to not only do you not want to go through a date with someone that you don't enjoy, but I mean, a proposal's such a big deal. And my girlfriend and I have this conversation all the time because she's not a fan of the show. And she's not a fan of the show because she wants the happy ever after without all the hurt, which doesn't happen in real life sometimes. But you know what? You don't want to take a proposal away from somebody. And that is something I'm a firm believer in because that's a really big thing for a man or a woman to get down and propose to somebody. And I so applaud her for not allowing him to get that. To go that far.
The show's been guilty in the past for doing it.
Absolutely.
And as a bachelor or a bachelorette, you can say no. You can say that you don't want them to do that. And I know that some people have in the past, but Allie as well. Allie, it's the best thing that I think Allie did all season was by not letting Chris do that. You don't want to let somebody get down on one knee and propose to someone if you know the answer is no. Like, you don't want to take that away from somebody because that's such a big deal. And I just can't. I have so much respect for her the way she handled it.
So kudos to her how she handled it.
Yeah.
However, how did she handle that breakup with Ari? What happened?
She said it so great to Chris. And I think as soon as she saw Ari and as soon as he knew something was wrong and that switch flipped in his head and you could see it in his eyes, his body language changed. He wasn't looking at her anymore. She just got nervous and didn't know what to say. I mean, it's so much easier to break up with somebody over the phone or via text message. You know what I mean? It's face-to-face is so hard with any conversations, and that's a hard spot to be in.
And hopefully, and she said she's learned to be more direct, and hopefully, I don't know, I don't see her in that type of situation again. Hopefully, I hope this engagement sticks. What is it, 15? Quoting her, she's had 15 engagements. So,
but it is hard. I mean, I think that's why a lot of couples end up staying together when they know that they shouldn't, because it's just hard to do face to face.
Breakups are never fun.
Breakups are never fun, especially
end.
when you do love the person. You just know it's not right, and you can't even express it to them really, and all you get are these feelings that are coming out in your body language, the way you look at them. Like, you can't deny it sometimes, and so you just either keep going with it or you give the little BS answer and you try to go around the hurt, and it just makes it worse in the end.
Well, it's something that she can grow on, and yes.
And it's amazing to me that she said that tonight, that she has grown from the experience, because it's one of my favorite things about doing the show is that I became such a stronger person because of it, and I learned so much about myself and how to handle so many situations, and she did the same. So I just have so much respect for her tonight for that.
So it ended on a positive note,
So
and we
great.
haven't even moved on to the actual proposal, because I know y'all had thoughts, especially about the dress, and just not your favorite. No.
I like the color and stuff.
And stuff.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, they spent rumored to be $350,000 on her wardrobe, $150K for the diamond. What'd you guys think of where she was proposed to?
Not as dramatic.
No, I agree. That's why I brought it up.
Where's the cliff and the water?
That's
and
what I was
the
gonna say.
Sun and
Ben's proposal location
Yeah.
on the top of Matterhorn or
Switzerland,
wherever it
like-
was, gorgeous. Yeah. And they could have done a beach, they could have done anything, and it was like in the middle of a town square.
It was weird.
And they've done beaches before. Maybe they were just trying to
It
really
looked like the back
outsmart.
lot of Universal or something. Like it did, right? The little, like, there was that little bitty house in the middle of the road, the little rooms. It just looked like a set. It was weird.
It was a little more dressed down, I could say.
It wasn't the romantic, beautiful place that they usually have, for sure.
Right. It was just I found it fascinating. Maybe it's just because of the moment that they had, that the romance wasn't the place, it was the people involved and just the story. Because they really was it Mike?
Storybook.
Yes, the storybook ending. You know, since the beginning they said it was going to be the most romantic Bachelor ending ever.
They say that every season.
No, but they
Stop
really
getting
cute-
sucked in.
But I don't know.
I mean, still watch, but come on.
I don't know if it was. I mean, I don't want to say there's no romance, because there obviously is, but there's definitely a better adjective for their relationship than romantic. Does that make sense?
Friendship on fire.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think
He
it's
called her his
romantic.
best friend. Chat roll is blowing up right now, and I have to apologize since I suck at chat roll. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's my
My
first
iPad's
time.
dead,
But
guys.
everyone's saying things about how the proposal was really cheap, but like they hope that it'll work out.
Well, they had to spend all the money on the ring, the wardrobe.
Yeah.
I don't think the proposal was cheap. I just think, you know what? Jeff and Emily were awkward from the beginning, and their love is not going to be understood by many people. And I think that their awkwardness and their irks together are what make them amazing, and it's what made me pick him from the beginning, and it's what made me fall in love with them as a couple. And I do think that they've had that storybook, and I do think that they've been completely romantic, and I love their story because it's true and it's genuine and it's real, which we haven't seen on this show in the past. And he may not be the most eloquent man with words. He may say like 4,000 times when he gets nervous, but in his own way, I think that was an amazing proposal. And the words that he used in saying that she's his forever, and that the proposal, they weren't just words for him, and they weren't empty. And I can understand how people would look at it and say that it may be cheap, and there's been more romantic proposals in the past, but this to me was the most real proposal I've ever seen on the show.
No, I think we're just talking about the scenery and stuff. Like what they said
the
to
chat roll. I'm talking about the chat roll.
I mean, what they said to each other was like
Different.
You can't say it any better. You can't write it any better. You know, I mean, the way that he spoke, I was like, that's the guy that I want to root for now.
Right.
You know, I mean, we've come to this point where I'm like, yeah, now I can really 100% be happy for you because you're the man that you should be. You know what I mean? Like, you're showing it. You're manning up again.
He charmed America, basically.
Yeah.
You know, and Chris Harrison was checking in live, you know, after every commercial break, and he asked the studio audience, and you could tell it was very pro Jeff, except for the one girl who said, "I didn't want Emily to pick Jeff because I want America to have him."
Yeah.
So he's just kind of like charmed everyone, and he's just won everyone's heart. So honestly, it doesn't matter if they were in an alley. You're right, because if they make it, and I really hope they do. Gosh,
will.
I do. It doesn't matter where the proposal was, because this is the one that it stuck.
Yeah.
And America's going to be behind it, and everyone is going to be happy. So
Yeah.
let's take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about after the final rose, what we liked, what we didn't like, the comparisons of Emily with Jeff and Brad quickly, and of course, some news and gossip. You're watching AfterBuzz TV.
Hey there, good buddies. The handle's Woolly Bear. I'm a truck driving man, but I'm not that old school kind of truck driving man, no. I like to listen to podcasts while I'm driving through these great United States of ours. And my favorite podcasts in the world are from AfterBuzz TV. And why? Because AfterBuzz TV is like a post-game wrap-up show for all your favorite TV shows. Like Jersey Shore, Dancing with the Stars, Mad Men, and a whole truckload more. I like listening to my Gossip Girl podcast, catching up with all my fellow fans and getting all the latest news and gossip. No, I got some strong opinions. And AfterBuzz TV lets me share those opinions with thousands of other listeners. Woo-wee, what a feeling. I used to doze off on those lonely stretches of road. And don't worry, I got the cruise control. But now I'm wide awake and listening to all the AfterBuzz TV goodness. Check them out. Give them a holler. And tell them the old Woolly Bear sent you.
Okay, and we're back. All right, so she said yes, everyone's in love, and now we start after the final rose.
Well, they walked into the sunset with
With
Ricki.
Ricki.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling that, yes.
In
It
her
was-
bad dress. Not Ricky's dress, Emily's dress. I wasn't a fan of Emily's dress tonight.
Okay, I will agree. She's had. I love women that use their wardrobe and they're the women that are just super fashion conscious, and Emily has just destroyed it all season. And I will agree, I did not like the dress. Love the color.
Color is great.
Color
was
fantastic.
I think she takes risks, which is amazing because without a big risk, there's no good reward. So that's where she comes in with all these killer outfits and then maybe one dud every so often.
It's weird. There's been a couple finale dresses I weren't real happy. Like, I didn't love Allie's finale dress either. I thought that some of the other dresses throughout the season were amazing, and the finale dress, I was like, really?
Evening gowns are a wash.
We weren't a big.
sometimes.
I think it was you and I. We weren't really, Canden and I, big fans of Courtney's final dress because she had the black
Yeah.
gloves on. They went up her arm.
She was trying too hard.
Yeah,
Like, it
never saw it.
And she
work
didn't.
for her.
She really didn't need to. But let's transition into after the final rose. And I want to say something about Emily. You know, she's always stunning and very well put together, but she seemed a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
Tonight-
Even with what she was wearing, how she was just put together tonight. She looked gorgeous, yes, but
More
just
normal.
something about maybe, I don't know if it's
The
because of Jeff.
editing, I was thinking because this is live and they can't edit out her witty, I don't know.
No, I mean in just
Live.
her demeanor, just how
Yeah.
how she presented herself, even just how her hair lay. You guys even said her hair seemed a little more relaxed and just.
She wasn't trying so
She
hard.
just wasn't so done up.
Yeah.
She was just, you can tell Emily is completely at peace with her decision. She's happy. She's comfortable. She's just like, you can see it. The way she's dressing, everything. Like, she was just so relaxed.
Permagrin.
Yeah.
She would not stop smiling the whole episode, and comparing it to like her other.
What a difference.
Yes, her and Brad's after the final rose.
She was just so poised and put together
Right.
and held. And I feel like that's the best part of Jeff and Emily, is that they literally make each other better people. Like, you say that that's what you want in a relationship, is you want someone that makes you want to do better and do more and are more comfortable. And they literally, together, you can see she's just a totally different person with him. I love it.
Their
Love it.
chemistry was insane. What did you guys get out of after the final rose? Anything really stand out?
They were more like lovey-dovey and like comfortable. I mean, there wasn't that pressure of the if and the maybe. It was like done deal.
Before we got to Emily and Jeff, we had the closure with Ari, and that whole situation was kind of awkward where he went to Charlotte to
weird.
try to get closure from Emily and left his journal at her doorstep.
And talk to Jeff about it. Like, I don't understand that whole dynamic.
I'm glad that he talked to Jeff about it because he and Jeff have been close the entire season. They're still close. I mean, they tweet each other, they Instagram each other, and I think that he needed to talk to Jeff to see that Emily and Jeff's relationship had progressed so much further than his and Emily's.
Now, one thing I was going to say is he was broken up. Yes, Ari was, but they have a lot of pictures like on Instagram. You know, like Ari and there's some beating going on throughout the studio.
What is happening over here?
What is happening?
That was the drum
Sorry.
roll. A
Just-
little early,
The
guys.
fake heartbeat that they dubbed over.
Oh, that was really awful.
You know, it's interesting. Sarah and I were the final two. We were best friends in the house. There was no one I got along with better than Sarah. From the first day that I met her till the last day when he broke up with me, to me, there was no better feeling than knowing that if he wasn't going to pick me, that he got the best girl in the house. Like, it was very refreshing for me to know that what Charlie ended up with was a good girl that was there for the right reasons, that cared about him, that they did last for 5 years. So for Ari to talk to Jeff about it, I 100% get that, because they went through this process together. No one understands this process like someone that went through it with you. And Sarah and I had such a great bond that when I moved to LA, Charlie and Sarah were the first people that I saw. They helped me find an apartment. They helped me find a job. I spent my first Thanksgiving with them. I mean, it's you become really tight and close. And I went to Sarah with a lot of my stuff, even when it was with Charlie. So I think that Ari going to Jeff and Jeff talking to Ari and making each other feel more comfortable with the situation only makes sense.
It's the overall Bachelor fraternity, right?
It is.
Or you're
I mean,
part of
don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people in the franchise I don't ever need to see again. But there are those few that I do hold very dear to my heart. And Sarah was one of them. And for me, the process didn't end the way I thought it would have originally, but I'm really happy with the way that it did. And my safety was in Sarah my entire process. And I think that was Ari and Jeff's situation as well. They were close from the beginning to the end. And when you have that with somebody in the house and then it becomes just the two of you, it's a really big thing that now you have that person to share with. You have that person to say, you know what, he didn't pick me, but he got the best guy in the house. And I feel like they had that camaraderie. And I feel like that's what made Ari more comfortable with the situation.
Well, and it makes sense that the final two are going to be similar and are going to be similar enough to where they get along and they're friends, because what she wouldn't have the last two be so polar opposite. She's just not that kind of person. Like, they're going to get along. They're going to be similar type guys to the point where she could end up with either one and be okay. Does that make sense?
I agree that they were friends, but I don't agree that they were alike at all. I think they were pretty polar opposite with most things.
But I mean, they get they're not.
They're good friends, but they're not similar.
They're good
as people.
They're good people, and they're not like, it's not like Courtney and Lindsay.
I feel like we said this last week that Sean could have ended up in the final two.
Absolutely.
And they would have been different. But, you know, the reason why we thought that she didn't have him in the final two is because he was a little bit more emotional and a little bit more involved. And it would have hurt him more to, you know,
and
be
they
at that
say
point.
that a lot. They say that usually the person that's third to the last to go home is usually really one of the final two, and that they sent that person home first because they had more feelings and would be more upset, and they keep the other person around. Like, for instance, me. So he kept me around because he knew I wouldn't be real heartbroken. You know, and I believe that. I think that's really true.
Who was third on your season?
Oh, Sarah W. I still hear her name and I still get a knot in my stomach. Isn't that crazy from so long ago? But yeah, like she was more into him than I was. And so he sent her home third because she would have been a mess, which she still was when she got sent home. Her exit interview is by far the best exit interview ever, Bachelor history. Like, Google it. Kelly
We will.
Oh, ugly cry. Not only did she ugly cry, but she said that we were racist and that we didn't like her because she was beautiful.
Oh,
wait.
And now beauty is no, it was, and I'm sure that she's grown past that, or I hope that she has, but literally best exit interview to date. Like,
Good television.
you have to go
TV.
But yeah.
Well, then, and the polar opposite then was Sean, because
Right.
he had the best exit interview ever, possibly because
Happy good interview.
happy
Yeah.
good, exactly. He just went out it the right way, like a classic true gentleman that he is, and
That's because he is one.
that's Sean Lowe, if you're watching.
I'm taking applications for his new girlfriends. I'm going to filter through them for him. I'm going to help him out. So I've decided that's my new job because he deserves
I'm closest
the
to
best.
her. I get the first one.
I'm saying hold out, brother, because possibly he could do The Bachelor. That would be awesome. So it's
some
still between
news.
that'll be a news? Okay, we'll get to
Don't
that.
talk about it yet. Shh.
I can't. I said nothing. All right. So overall, we thought it was great, you know, and I want to touch upon Jeff at least one more time, with the fact that it took a lot for him to contact Ari.
Yeah.
And, you know, because it wasn't Emily. Emily didn't want to talk to him about the breakup, but he said, I understand what he could possibly be going through, and to empathize with him and let him know that, you know, this is the real deal between Emily and I. I love her and we're happy, and what you guys have is special. She'll always have a special place for you in her heart. But the fact that he did that.
And Emily Emily said that she told Jeff what happened, and Jeff reached out to Ari, which big man.
Yeah.
I mean, big man.
That's awesome.
I mean, everything that they're doing now even just shows that the going to Africa, and he's decided that he's going to move to North Carolina because he doesn't want to uproot Ricki, and they're going to have separate houses. Like, he is just so mindful of their lifestyle, and that's the reason why I think they're going to be married forever.
And he has no self-esteem issues with it. You know what I mean? He's not going to get the jealousy bug or anything.
He said that he was confident in what they had.
Yeah, because it was something that Brad wasn't able to do, was to move from, and that was you said that
He would
earlier,
have never
Krisily.
even thought about it. He would have. It would have. I don't think personally that Brad it would have ever even entered his head to say maybe I should move to North Carolina. I just think he was very set in his life, and he just wanted a beautiful girl that was going to be a part of it without really being a part of it. I don't think he knew what he really wanted still.
But there's also the bonus also with Jeff's parents being close by in South Carolina, because they're on their Mormon mission as well. So it all kind of really does work out, and they're doing it right. They're doing it by the numbers, and it's spot on. Like, they're so smart about it. So
They're just very realistic.
That's the way to make it work.
Yeah.
And it seems like they have a lot of potential.
And you look at the former cast members that have made it work, and the one that always rings to me is Trista and Ryan. They've been so realistic about everything in their life, and that's what's made it work. And they're still happily together. So I feel like this is the only other Trista and Ryan story that we've ever had.
Yeah.
what about JP and Allie?
Well,
I mean Ashley. Sorry.
I feel like Emily kind of took a stab at them when after the final rose, she said, "We're not going to be engaged forever like some of these couples."
Well, and I don't think it was just JP. Like, look at Allie and Roberto danced around their marriage for a long time
because it wasn't going to work.
Because they were having issues and they didn't want to address it because the publicity. And I totally understand that and respect that. But then don't tell everyone that you're going to get married.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that she's just being realistic and saying we're not like everyone else. Like, this is going to happen. It's going to work.
Just once. And Jenna Couture actually said this on Twitter tonight. She said she wanted to see someone get married or be already married on the After the Final Rose, but I would like to see someone announce their wedding date or something to...
They haven't done that? Mesnick didn't?
I think the reason why they don't is because they've had to now watch this for how many weeks, knowing that they were together and not being able to see each other, which obviously they saw each other every weekend, but how can you plan a wedding like that?
You can't call
So you
people
can't really actually set a date until you're really living in real life together.
And especially with so many spoilers around people trying to get info.
Can't call the florist.
Because it'll be a tip. Sure.
Exactly.
So I was going to ask you if you think when the wedding's going to be and all this, but let's save it for predictions. And any other thoughts with After the Final Rose?
So happy.
Yeah.
I cried.
I liked watching them watch themselves during the proposal. Like, that was where you could tell that it was just cute and real and there, and they were so happy. You could
She's
just
so
see it.
smitten with him.
Yeah, she
And
is.
as much as the process of being on the show kind of sucks, I would love to have my love story on film.
Documented.
I mean, how amazing is it? I mean, yeah, she had to go through 25 other guys and those dates are there too. But how amazing is it to actually be able to see your life progress like that on film and to be able to always have that proposal to go back to? Like, she will forever be able to watch that proposal with Jeff. And I think that's an amazing thing that this show does give.
And do you think they'll also get all that extra footage that we don't get to see that actually tells the full story from the beginning? You know, all the between Jeff and Emily, just all those the deleted scenes where you see that this is it.
Do you know
Unless
how
Emily
hard
put
it
that-
was for me to get my season?
Yeah.
Do you know how hard? Do you know how I had to get my season? I had to beg Charlie for it.
I would say that unless Emily put that somewhere in her
her
elaborate
contract.
contract, they're not going to see that footage.
No, because what the public hasn't seen isn't going to be they're not going to give that chance for it to be leaked somewhere. So no.
They did it on Ben and Courtney's season. You would see some extra footage that you didn't see on the show, and you're like, oh. They have it on YouTube. You can see deleted scenes. Even ABC puts them on there.
Well, if ABC puts the deleted scenes out, then yes, maybe they'll have them. But other than that, no.
And they're happy
Have
with
their own memories.
I still don't even have my pictures from when I went snuba diving in Aruba, okay?
Snuba diving?
Snuba.
Oh, okay.
Snuba.
Snuba. Snorkeling and scuba together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought you had marbles in your mouth
But
too.
we
Okay.
had pictures under the water, and I have never gotten those. So
Okay. So we all happily ever after. So
Yes.
Let's move on to, you got some news and gossip for us, Kathy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
AfterBuzz TV News.
There was a lot of news this week. Obviously, every tabloid had Emily's picture somewhere on there about, they were talking about who she was going to choose, the insight, whatever. None of them really knew. But some of the stuff from tonight's live finale, obviously there were some former Bachelor and Bachelorette contestants on there, but Kris Jenner was actually at the taping of the live finale. And she tweeted that she was really excited to find out who won, which I just thought was weird. Reality shows combining, but she was there. So no real reason behind it.
Over the Kardashians.
Yeah.
They can all go to an island and the island can sink.
The opinions expressed by Krisily Kennedy
That's right,
do not
my
necessarily
opinion.
reflect those of AfterBuzz nor its subsidiaries. Thank you.
There might be some reality TV junkies out there who love both reality shows.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah. So some other news, and we've talked about this behind the scenes while we were watching, that there might be a possibility of a reality spinoff with Jeff and Emily planning their wedding or, going through that process. So,
Think it'll happen?
I think that they'd be stupid if they had the opportunity and didn't. America has watched their love story. What wouldn't be more fun than to watch them plan a wedding and kind of live together? I think it would be really cool to see.
well, we've said that she wants to get into TV hosting, and so it would be a good platform for her to, remain on TV and in the spotlight. But
She just keeps saying how private she wants to be and how she doesn't want to subject Ricki to this, and this. And I'm like, I don't know how much of it I believe anymore if she's going to go through with doing a reality show about their life.
I don't feel like she said that since she's been on this show, though. She's been careful to how much she brings Ricki in, but she hasn't said that she doesn't want... You know what I mean? Like, I don't think
that was more on Brad's season.
It was Brad's season that she was very uncomfortable with it. And I think now she's a little bit more comfortable with it. And I think that this would be a great opportunity to show America that, you know what, this is how we can make it work.
And she has evolved. I mean,
she has grown. She's grown a lot and changed. So it could work. I'm just saying, who knows?
And I don't know how much Ricki necessarily needs to be in that show, and it wouldn't really affect her life. I feel like the Bachelorette, would have had to pull her out of school to go to London and to all these places, but for that show, they'll be in Charlotte, and she'll be able to carry on with her lifestyle. So, other news that we have, mostly about The Bachelor. So people are speculating who's going to be the Bachelor. We've talked about Roberto possibly being the Bachelor, Sean possibly being the next Bachelor, and Star Magazine, Perez Hilton, everyone's kind of saying that Roberto is not going to be the next Bachelor because he's found love elsewhere.
Interesting.
They said that he's turned down the money and the opportunity to be the next Bachelor because...
Within a month?
Yeah. They said that he's fallen in love with this girl, Cara Ramos, who's a model. And,
So wow, he's going to turn, you think he's going to turn it down according to what Star says?
That is what they're saying. So I don't know if there's 100% truth to that, if he would pass up this opportunity, but that is word on the street right now.
Yeah,
So,
I heard that the model girlfriend isn't too pleased. Yeah, she doesn't want him on the show either, so.
yeah.
Hey, so that leaves it open for
what a
maybe.
month can do.
Well, that's the other thing. Sean Lowe did an interview with a local Dallas radio station, and they asked him whether he would like to be on The Bachelor as the next Bachelor. And he said he thought it was tough enough dating Emily on TV, so he doesn't know if he could handle 25 girls, but he'd definitely be open to it because he feels like this process works. And while it didn't work out with Emily and him, he thinks that he could potentially find love on the show. So he's open to it.
And I think a guy like Sean would do really well with a process like this. I feel like he would treat it very genuinely and very real. And he's the kind of guy that's going to find a good girl doing something like this.
And they haven't really signed any contracts with anyone, but there are other people still in the mix. I think some people on Twitter want Ari to be the next Bachelor. Other
Boring.
people as well, but...
Sorry.
Krisily doesn't like that option, but...
So you'll let us know maybe if you guys stick around for Bachelor Pad that we also will be doing, and you can give us the news on who they finally pick as the next Bachelor in the coming weeks. Hopefully, we'll know.
They'll probably announce it on the live finale of Bachelor Pad 3 because that would be a good opportunity for them to get more ratings and
Keep us there.
About
Okay.
the show.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That's the news with Cathy Kelley.
Yeah.
God, I felt some morning talk. Ew. All right, this is it for our final predictions. Till tomorrow, at least.
I was like, what are we predicting?
AfterBuzz TV.
Are they going to stay together? Are they going to get married?
Yes.
Stay together, yes. What
Yes.
about Bachelor Pad? Do we have any predictions?
Any
for
predictions?
that?
Chris Harrison says it's going to be the most irritating season of Bachelor Pad,
All right.
which I do not doubt. For one
All right,
bit.
we can do Bachelor Pad predictions. Who's gonna win the $250,000, or are they gonna split it, or are they gonna end up with none of it? No one's ever done that though.
I have no idea.
I think all these people that go on and then it's like the two of you at the end, I'm going to tell you right now, I would not split the money. I would take the money and run.
I thought that last season, the couples, all 4 of them ended up splitting the money behind the scenes.
They did.
Okay.
But I would not have done that. I mean, you're on the show for $250,000. Let's face it, walk with $250,000.
You would have walked out then with nothing, right? Because then your partner would have picked to split it, and you would have picked to
No,
keep it.
Then I would have
Then
kept it.
she would have gotten it all to herself.
Which, let me
Okay.
tell you something. This show is built on people screwing each other over week after week after week. So how then are you going to then show somebody...
Because some of these people have genuine
Fall in
connections
love.
and have fallen in love.
Okay, Holly and Michael did not fall in
Yeah,
love.
but you know that
Natalie
she didn't
and
want to
Dave-
screw him over again.
Natalie
Blake and
and
Holly.
Dave did
Yeah.
not fall in love.
Blake and Holly.
Yeah, but it wasn't Blake and Holly weren't the final 2. The final 2 were Michael and Holly. And they chose to keep it and then share it, which whatever. But they didn't find love, so what's the excuse? Because they've continuously screwed each other over the entire show. I would have taken the money and run. Like, the show is built on that. The show is built on who can screw the most people over to get to the money. Michael and Holly did not get there by being the 2 nicest people in the house. They had to throw people under the bus and send people home that they said they weren't going to.
Okay, the prediction is now that the show, the tone is going to change completely tomorrow because Bachelorette is over.
Thank God.
Now
I'm ready.
Now it's going to get dirty.
Yeah.
And it's going to get a lot of kissing and a lot of just treachery and just make sure you have your shots.
Can you see how excited I am?
And the previews are showing that
A
it's
lot of hookups.
trashier
Yeah.
than it has been. Like, these girls are not... Are you going to want to watch this? Because
Probably
you're
not.
sounding so fun
Probably
about it.
not.
Then maybe you should
Probably
skip
not.
if you not like it. That's what it is. It's trash. It's going to be trash. Like, the girls
Trashy.
are going to... Trashy, right, not trash. But it's going to be trashy. Like, that's what it's about.
I predict someone will win.
I hope it's just one person.
I predict I'll be disappointed with Lindsay.
Okay, I predict I'm just going to ask you guys for your Twitter handles because it's not the end. It's not the end of us because you'll probably see
They're
us
throwing
tomorrow.
us off.
We'll be back
Yes.
on tomorrow.
Canden, where can they find you?
You guys can tweet me at Canden Bliss.
And the one on her iPhone.
At Krisily.
You can tweet me at Cathy Kelley.
And you can find me at The Everyday Man. So for Marissa, Krisily, Canden, Cathy, I'm JC, and that's Liz. We are all the Bachelor After Show. We'll see you next time, everybody.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.